My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Actually, my name is Bruce Stahlman. My philosophy is that we don't get to choose what happens to us, but we darn sure get to choose how we respond to it. That adversity is always less an opportunity, and cancer does not know who it's messing with. Let me explain why. My wife and I were married in 1985, and 89, our first son Jay arrived, and he was everything we had hoped for. In 1992, Mark and Eric, the twins, were born. Unfortunately, they were born very prematurely, and 28 weeks premature, as a matter of fact. So at birth, Mark weighed 2 pounds 15 ounces and Eric weighed 1 pound 14 ounces. Mark was in the neonatal intensive care unit for 2 months and Eric was in for 3 months, and ultimately they were both diagnosed with cerebral palsy and medical fragility. Both were drip fed with gastrointestinal tubes because they couldn't consume enough nutrition orally to survive. Mark was nonverbal and non-mobile, but learned to talk with a speech computer like Stephen Hawking. Eric was verbal, but non-mobile, and ultimately was on a trach vent for assisted breathing. Both boys used wheelchairs, and we lost track of how many surgeries each kiddo had, but it was easily one per year for things like spine fusions, bone and muscle lengthening, stomach Nissens, so forth and so on. Our house essentially looked like a hospital ward with medical equipment, alarms, nursing care 24/7, etc. I saw a terrific bumper sticker the other day that said, experience wildlife, raise twins. They have no idea. Mark passed in 2014 from a blood clot at 21 years old. Eric passed in 2015 of complications arising from sepsis or blood poisoning. He was 23. Over 600 people attended each memorial service, which is remarkable for kids who weren't mobile or particularly verbal, but they were consistently awesome self-advocates for the disabilities community, and they touched many, many other lives. As you can imagine, getting past losing 2 of your children was neither very easy nor very fast, but life does move on. Our oldest son, Jay, and his wife, Sveti, having 2 grandsons certainly helped. The second was born in September of 2018, which will take on some added significance here momentarily. In late August of 2018, I hadn't been feeling well for a month and was having some minor balance issues. I figured it was just a virus or something and really paid it no never mind. But my wife contacted a neurologist we knew from working with the twins in order to get a referral for an office visit, and he said, just go to the ER and get an MRI. So on the 28th of August, which was a Tuesday, I got up and was getting ready for work, and she said, you're going for an MRI. I said, I have to go to work. She said, you're going for an MRI, deal with it. At which point, it was she who must be obeyed. So we drove to the ER, and after an hour after getting the MRI, the attending physician comes in and says, you have a large mass in your head, we're admitting you to the ICU. Naturally, my response was, what exactly do you mean by a large mass? On the 31st of August, they wheeled me down to surgery, and about 6 hours later, I was missing a cancerous tumor the size of a racquetball, part of my brain, but I got a cool scar, and they left most of the personality intact, which some feel was a missed opportunity. I was on steroids for 6 weeks, which really mess up your sleep patterns. And then I did 6 weeks of combo radiation and chemo, which ended in November. And I've been doing adjuvant chemo ever since, 5 days on, 23 days off since December. The diagnosis isn't pretty. It's a glioblastoma. Statistically, that says you might have 18 months because this type of cancer is fairly resistant to drugs because of the blood-brain barrier. I've had a number of people tell me it's a rough ticket getting brain cancer after having Mark and Eric, and I say they've got it completely wrong. Mark and Eric were huge blessings as we met so many great people in the disabilities community, and I wouldn't have worked for ARC thrift stores for 12 years absent their arrival. My wife forcing me to get an MRI was a blessing, because if she hadn't, we're probably not having this pleasant conversation today. Because as a dude, I was unlikely to volunteer for it of my own accord. But I say statistics don't mean diddly. I'm reasonably young. I'm otherwise healthy. My oncologist says I'm best in class as far as patients tolerating treatment to date, as far as he's had. I've had 3 clean MRIs since the surgery. My weight, my appetite's back, my weight's up, I'm exercising. I did 3 miles on the track at the rec center the other day, and that felt good. Got the Optune device going on, which is zapping the little buggers. If there's any cancer cells left, when they go to divide, the electrical fields set up by the electrodes in your head basically degrade the cancer cells and hopefully kill them, or don't allow them to multiply, which is the intent. So it's the nice thing about this is that I kind of always assumed I might have a game of asteroids going on in my head, but no such luck there. On the other hand, I can read everybody's thoughts, so that's worked out rather well, all things considered. And I had to take all the hair off, of course, to get the electrodes to lay on the skin. So my staff at work was ruthlessly efficient in that regard. They took my nameplate off the door and put Vin Diesel up, and now they fondly refer to me as Buzz Lightyear because of the battery pack. The good news is that every time I walk into a room, everybody tells me how good I look. That absolutely never happened before I had cancer. And I'm proud to have lived up to my dad's observation that I do in fact have a hole in my head. The worst part about the whole thing has been this insatiable desire to sing the Scarecrow song from Wizard of Oz. Oh, the thoughts that I'd be thinking, I'd be another Lincoln if I only had a brain. But frankly, that's pretty small beer in the grand scheme of things. Let me see here. I'm going to close with a couple of quotes I found to be both inspirational and comforting. The 18th century German author, poet, and statesman Johann Wolfgang von Goethe said that magic is believing in yourself. If you can do that, you can make anything happen. Proving that not all great quotes come from antiquity, the 20th century American philosopher Wayne Dyer said, "Above all else, never aim low or think small. You are a divine manifestation of God, and in that regard, you are connected to that which causes and creates miracles." I wish you all the best, and I hope you believe me when I say that adversity is always less than opportunity. Thank you.